Star Citizen is having a bit of an issue with expansive features over and above what the original Kickstarter was based around. Let's chat about it, but first, my opinion. I'm Tarmack, and this is Feature Creep, a convenient series title for today's topic. The original SC pitch was for an online and offline space sim in the same vein as Freelancer and Wing Commander, but with current-day tech. There was going to be a single-player experience as well as an open and closed BattleNet-style server structure for online persistence, and that's kinda it. Star Citizen is a scary game. To hear Chris Roberts talk about it is actually quite enthralling because you get a real sense of the passion that he has for the concept. My worry, though, is that he's a dreamer, which is why that passion is so obvious, and with the $80+ million raised so far, any dreamer personality type would have a very difficult time not adding things. Let me be totally clear, I don't believe that these are negatives necessarily, so long as he can keep the dreams reined into reality. Every new project in business needs a champion with that level of passion in order to succeed. The concern, however, is the reality. What wasn't mentioned in the original pitch before the money started pouring in like a hole in Uncle Scrooge's vault were things like a fully functioning first-person shooter with features that FPS games don't generally have, like variable gravity, and of course the wonders that will be space pets. Essentially, the game has shifted focus to a much more grandiose vision than what was originally presented, and it was that original focus that garnered much of the support from gamers that caused the whole thing to blow up in popularity in the first place. Further to those features, and on topic with my video on No Man's Sky, RSI had a stretch goal for development of a procedural generation system, and you know how that makes my skin crawl. As an aside, I have an issue with the claim of the game not being pay to win. By and large, the debate hinges on the idea that you can still get the ships in-game with regular currency. A game can still be pay to win under these circumstances. Having a more powerful ship in a game with active PvP and potential long-term consequences for dying is an obviously advantageous situation. And if you think that even hardcore individual farming is ever going to get you one of those multi-$1,000 capital ships, you're delusional. They can't allow that to happen because it will infuriate their biggest customers who have spent the most money in order to have an advantage. There's also the implication that not being pay to win makes a business model ethical, which is a non sequitur. I also don't buy the argument about supporting development. The development hasn't needed financial support in multiple tens of millions of dollars, so why are they still selling ships? Imagine an EA or an Ubisoft doing this, already $80 million budgeted for a game, selling $100 and $1,000 DLC packs but still with no release in sight. Go ahead, imagine that. Best of luck imagining much support from the game community for it, but somehow SC gets a free pass from some when it's already in the top 20 for most expensive video games ever made. The belief that more is better is what results in feature creep, which is why it is very intentional that this particular series I do is very short in design. Feature creep in software design is the addition of new features outside the original scope of the product, generally to the detriment of the overall production process. The problem with more features becomes more complexity, more cost, more time, and of course, more bugs. What was originally announced was an ambitious but realistic pitch for a really cool space flight game. That's what people got excited about. Now, though, because of the enormous level of funding, it has turned into an utter behemoth that I'm not sure is realistic anymore. And everyone is pinning their hopes on a game industry vet who hasn't made a video game in 12 years, making one that is outside the scope of anything that has ever been done with new tech that he's never seen used before. This game is a tall order, even for someone who has been working with the current tech for the last decade. Outside of those who have pumped a huge amount of money into the game who suffer from confirmation bias, I'm not sure how many ardent supporters there are of Star Citizen these days. Most people I've spoken to are indifferent, looking forward to it if it ever happens, but not really thinking about the game very often. Their original milestone was shipping the alpha beta by November last year. Cloud Imperium has missed every single milestone that they've announced at least once. All we have to date is a very small part of spaceflight via the Arena Commander and Hangar modules. That's an enormous time variance, and it's certainly somewhat false posturing on the part of Cloud Imperium, at least potentially so to those people who backed the game before they decided to change their focus. I'm backing a project based on what you told me it would be. If you change that vision, and even if you feel the new vision is better, it's perfectly understandable that I may not agree with you, but you still have my money. It's a shady move, and I think Cloud Imperium is justified in getting accusations of vaporware, feature creep, and the like. What do you think about the progress of Star Citizen? I still want the fanciful game that Chris Roberts seems to be trying to make. I just wouldn't have put any skin in the game if I knew he was going to take this long and change the goalposts so many times. Drop me a line in the comments down below. Feature Creep is a regular show on Mondays, so sub up if you enjoyed it. That's all I have to say. Tarmack out.